Welcome to Answers from the Universe and the Andronicus transmissions on Wolf Spirit Radio, Ever Beyond Radio, and Studio 9 Jam on YouTube. With your host, Jessica Ariel Morocco, featuring JP as the voice of Andronicus. Please visit www.readingsbyrael.com, that's ARAEL.
We came from the future, by way of the past. I bought my ticket for the 15th century. We started moving through a hole in history.
You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio. Quick editor's note, sound improves after 7 minutes.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm your host. This is Jessica Ariel Morocco coming to you live from Boston, Massachusetts. And you're also here with JP from the beautiful Findhorn area of Scotland.
Fascinating.
And so we are ready to embark on another show. Today is the Andronicus transmission. I believe it's number 55. Well, we're getting close to the halfway mark to 100, right? I don't know how close we're going.
We're well over, so, I mean, we're now in our second year, the second volume of the adventures of Andronicus.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's timely, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot of different things happening. I believe this was ordained to come forth at this time, parallel to what's going on. And I don't know if I should maybe do provide some information regarding what's going to happen later before we get into it. But I kept on hearing the seventh ray, and I just want to hold that thought for a moment. And then I want you to explain to people what that means, because it says we are entering the seventh ray. That's what they said to me. Now JP knows this, the modality that identifies and defines things according to the rays. So before that, I just want to remind everyone today is a double show, essentially, and well, not completely. I mean, it's a different. We're doing a roundtable in the second part, which would be so there's 2 hours of the Andronicus transmissions, and following we will have a roundtable for the interstellar group and the interstellar roundtable, and that will be with Viking. I don't know, I'm fumbling over my words today. That will be with Viking today, and we will also have Max Steele coming in the second hour of that show to talk about some of the things that are going on the planet. And some of the feelings Viking has some very strong insights, and I think you'll really enjoy it. We probably have so many other things that I shouldn't be mentioning right now. We're going to have someone come in and read part of a transmission coming from Meetis, and by the name of Jewel. Is that correct, JP?
Yes. When do you want to bring her in? Because I said probably the second hour, but maybe it's suiting.
Second hour. I think we'll do it the second hour.
Okay, good. As my predictions are coming. Yeah, I'm really getting good at guessing when things are going to happen. It's quite interesting. And also, I'll sometimes ask somebody a question and I'll hear the answer myself as well. And when they say the same answer, it's like, oh yeah, they get it. Do you get that? I mean, being a medium, you probably you hear the answers before people say them. Do you hear that?
Yeah, I was actually when we were talking about putting together a center, not very far from where I live, with a collaborative with some other light workers and people that do healing modalities of sound healing, as well as possibly a modality called Bowen, don't know if anyone's ever heard of it.
Oh, it's brainstorming. Well, I live in Findhorn. I know all the techniques. I know all the machines. I know. I build the stuff. I've been there. But yeah, Bowen's technique is an osteopathic technique. But it's just it's like almost like you know how kung fu can just touch you at one place and you fly across the room. It's that kind of power, touching exactly the right place. Very gentle, and it's good for kids who've got like autistic situations and things like that.
Yeah, so a good friend of mine, believe it or not, I have not experienced it yet, but everyone that has is just amazed by it. And, people know me as a reader, and I'm able to gain insight, see past lives, and also help with past life regressions. And I am available. People contact me all the time. I do Skype sessions with people, as well as have done past life regressions through Skype, and meet people in person if you're local, which is really great. Then I get to meet you, and it becomes a really nice experience. But getting back to the center, so we were thinking of bringing in all this, people would have a variety of different things that they could go to enhance whatever experience that they need in their life, and to help release all, injuries and help to make their life a lot better. So, anyhow, that was one of the things that was going on, and one of many. We may be doing a turnaround on the Ireland trip, looking at some other avenues, some complicating things had occurred, and some were just stepping back and reassessing it, and then re-advancing into however the universe wants us to do it. It appears that the way we were trying to do it was not exactly what they had in mind. So we'll just go with that flow. And let's see. Any other news, JP? Oh, the website.
So many things. Hang on a second. I'm just getting here. Okay. I've just improved the sound. I'm very apologies about the sound. Last night with the phone call that we were trying to do over Skype and over Google Hangouts, I had changed loads of settings and it hadn't changed back. So we're all back now. So now, what did you want to? What did you want me?
Andronicus website.
The website, yeah, and isn't that cool?
An amazing, I'll say, smashing job. She's just amazing how well she's doing, and it is looking so good. And JP, you put together this GIF.
Do you like it?
That looks like something out of Monty Python. It's so awesome. And it's symbolic and professional, beautiful, imaginative. And there's actually, if you follow the sequence of how it goes, it's literally depicting, my first interaction with Andronicus, or the Andronicus there by himself, and the small little image of him, or it's the symbol of, who we're portraying him as. And so there's a little guy with his legs crossed, and so he kind of starts to emerge and come closer, and then my face pops up, and then there is this signal.
Then the aerial comes up, big aerial comes up.
The aerial, yep. And then, the radar is
Aerial
going
Morocco,
on.
by the way.
I know. And it looks like, it's like the sound waves coming around, or also it could look like it's a tunnel or a portal as he's coming up, and then your face appears, showing, the three of us being connected. It's really an amazing gift, and we're just, I don't know, I would hope that we could be launching it soon, and if I can get my life back in order here, it would just be wouldn't it be wonderful? There's been a lot of crises. There's a lot of things going on. People calling me. People are feeling the pressure of the shifts and things happening. And Vicky and I are going to get more in depth in that later on today. So if you hang on for the next 2 hours, and after that we'll begin to address that issue, if you're interested in hearing more. So at some point we'll be launching the website, and we'd like to create, some kind of blog or forum where people could just write in and say whatever they feel or think and contribute, because everyone has such amazing insights. And I miss a lot, because I'm the one that's just channeling it.
And yeah, I kind of know what the interpretation is, but there are other people that are listening to it multiple times and then getting new stuff. And then coming back to me and said, I didn't really look at it. And Viking's one of them. Viking will look at it and say, hey, this part right here really should have been more emphasized. We should really discuss this. And so
I think we come if you were to take a hose pipe and comparing us, we're the nozzle of the hose pipe, and the pressure is high, and the information is flowing very fast, and it comes through us, but it's like everybody else is maybe sitting on the ground after the hose after the garden's been watered, kind of thing, and enjoying the flowers coming up. But we're here at the nozzle as it's spraying past. And then we, as you say, I've been having sessions with clients, and you've been having sessions with clients, and the last couple of weeks have been incredibly busy with very, very deep stuff. People are coming up with the deepest of their, I don't want to say the deepest, darkest stuff, but it's like, it's really deep, it's really old, and it all connects very much with the Lyran transmission that I did the other week, not the Lyran transmission, Lyran trauma, show that I did the other week, which by the way has in 1 week gathered 3,500 hits. I'm not kidding, this is like crazy, amount of hits on that video, which is like just me. It's not a guest, it's me. But I guess it's managed to touch people.
It's heartfelt. You're talking from your truth.
Yeah. And
when you speak from your truth, you're able to express and help people gather in and take in that healing. And so, that's what's going on. And the Lyrans need to be healed. And those that were in that experience, we're going to actually bring that up again. It comes up once again. And, Andronicus talks about it today.
Wow.
So, before we go into that, so I was hearing that we're stepping into the 7th ray. Can you tell everyone what that means? Because that was actually a big shift.
Well. Sorry, I just had to hit that button. So look, what happens is, we've all heard about the Piscean age and the Aquarian age, and everybody's happy with those ideas, aren't they? Okay, so, and the idea is that there's this kind of overarching philosophy or attitude or, point of view that each of these different, qualities has. So Piscean quality, Pisceans are all very good, but they can be a bit cloying and a bit clingy. And, we're now dealing with the last of the Klingons, and the time of the crossing, that's the time when it finishes, when one finishes and another one starts. And we've just been through it. And so, a lot of people say, when does the Aquarian age start? I'd say it's just started. And you know it because the end of the Piscean age is the end of the, it doesn't seem to be finishing because it's playing out. But what you're seeing in the world stage is the playing out of the end of the 6th ray and the beginning of the 7th ray. So what you're seeing is a load of emotional overexpression and violence and playing out, all this war and stuff. Yet at the same time, there's a groundswell of people joining together, creating grassroots organizations that will then change the world harmlessly by just replacing the oppressive situation with something that is just beautiful. That's 7th ray.
Yeah, so this is beyond the dawning of the age of Aquarius. This is the age of Aquarius.
Yeah, this is so the age of Aquarius is, the sun's come up.
Someone needs to make the revision of that song. That would be nice. Maybe we can play that later on today.
I got it somewhere.
Yeah.
So the 7th ray, let me just outline. So the 6th ray is what we've come out of, and the 7th ray is what we're moving into, or what we've moved into. 6th ray, you could say Middle East, temperors, all that sort of stuff. 7th ray, Africa has a 7th ray soul.
Seventh ray soul, fourth ray personality. So, rhythm is a very big part of Africa. I presume that Cuba or somewhere like that, where the very rhythmic part of Latin America, would have another very strong seventh ray. But you see, the whole, for instance, Latin America is very Catholic, very religious. Yeah, that's a sixth ray quality. So we're going to see that the whole religiousness kind of maybe dissolve into a new kind of unity consciousness.
That sounds great. It sounds very promising. However, like you said, that there are still some residual things going on, and something significant happened the other day. I had a vision, had a discussion with Rhodan, and we're going to read that one soon after. But right now, we'll probably go into Andronicus, and this is kind of leftover stuff that I have been dealing with on a personal level. But I believe it's been widespread. I don't believe it was just me personally. So I want you to see and kind of look at the effect of some of this energy that occurred. And it's kind of in the love area. And JP and I have been talking about, how the dark ones, they don't need to come in with a big war. They just know how to come in and crush the heart area. I had someone contact me and they were just heartbroken and saying, what is the purpose of life if my loved ones don't care about me? If my mother or my sister doesn't care about me? I mean, why do I even care to live? And, that's someone that came here and had a beautiful purpose and something to contribute. And I'll tell you, I felt so sorrowful for him because of what he was going through. And there's nothing worse. I believe there's nothing worse on the planet than not feeling loved. And so it's not always just relationships. It's different facets of relationships. People feeling rejected and hurt by parents or other relatives, or feeling abandoned or are shut down from friends and people that they trusted in. Relationships in marriages or commitments that were destroyed by others, and confusion and miscommunications. Also the injuries that people are having right now regarding their children, and feeling like their children aren't there with them, and they're worried about them, and they're feeling a disconnect. So these are the areas of the heart that the dark ones are trying to challenge us on, and it only makes us stronger, because when we start to remember that we're connected to Source, that no one can ever take our love away from us. Our love is ever present, and it's always there. So, keeping that in mind. But so anyhow, let's go into hear what Andronicus has to say.
And it's
for this week.
It's ever present everywhere. It's a warm love. I am here as always. I want to speak to you about something very important. It is something that has caused such a rift amongst us in the past. Excuse me. I'll start again. I just schlepped down some coffee. It's just burping it back on.
I thought it was an audio issue.
I'm not being dramatic about this. I know I'm supposed to be a bit dramatic about it, because Andronicus is he's quite a drama queen anyway. So meanwhile, let's start again. Yeah. I'm here as always. I want to speak to you about something very important. It is something that has caused such a rift amongst us in the past, and I am solely responsible for it. As you know, I've had many love interests, and also had many relationships turning up badly. What more can I say other than this has been my own undoing? Or so I thought. Unfortunately, I have discovered that it has caused great hardship to you as well as others. Moreover, it is now being discovered to be the crux of the many battles between us. The females, when betrayed, became very spiteful, bitter, and even vengeful. You may have been less vengeful, but it did not separate you from the warfare that followed. Recently, you discovered a problem that neither you or I were aware of. It was the problem between you, Hera, and Callisto. Originally, it was a furious notion for Hera to think anyone was in my arms beside her. She never loved me and plotted against me then, and continues to plot against me to this day. Women do not have to venture in a battlefield to make a war. They are much more crafty and stealthful in their dealings. We as men surrender to them on occasions and discover that some of their advances were done out of jealousy and competition. Men are also guilty of this behavior, but we need to rise above this kind of thinking. Long ago, there was love. Only love. People joined together for love, not for any other purpose. I can't get that thought out of my head, and although I'm aware that many use romance as a tool to advance or declare something, I'm always shocked and see no point in this behavior. In the moment love is divine. It is pure and unadulterated. When a person seeks out love for status, revenge, spite, bitterness, isn't it contrary to the actual purpose of joining together? For example, a soft rose petal on the vine, how lovely to behold. And then the sharpness of the thorn that tears the skin on the way out. Isn't this the love that causes such injury? I am jaded, Bilal. I am jaded beyond belief. Rhodan taps his foot on my head to tell me what a fool I am. He says I have made a circus of his family by my actions. Unfortunately, upon observing the results, I can see that this is true. So, back to the matters at hand. I have been deeply reprimanding and I can't even pronounce it. So, back to the matters at hand. I have been deeply reprimanding and voluntarily reprimanded myself for assuming that love is love on all other regions of the galaxy. You know Venus. We are truly misunderstood, you and I. You know Venus. We are truly misunderstood, you and I. We are light and open in heart, but have been trodden on like a mighty bull enraged. I don't blame you at all. I blame the bickering woman who never loved me, who never held me to their heart, but only with their malice. It was said that they thought Callisto and Hera would be at odds with one another over me. Instead, they joined forces to harm you. I'm sure it was because they knew I loved you and I always would love you, and that's it, nothing more. I did not realize, nor did you, that they would take such harsh vengeance against you that eclipsed time-space for 2,000 years. How many love interests were dissolved by their tactics? You could never leave your port without folly. Your marriages ended in hardship and tears. Your sorrow went on and on. Your simple, honest love was abashed and misunderstood by the harsh curses of Hecate. All is banished now. None are allowed to enter your gate now. I've closed everything, and we have located the Callisto and the time and coordinates where this great plan was devised, and have aborted her mission with Hera. Watching the time shift it all back to normal time, and then I have sent back the curses of these women to experience for themselves. We, Apollo, Mars, Ares, Saturnus, and properly Phaeton. This strand of bitterness wove itself through the band of time to the wars on Mars and Lyra. Elysia is our witness. Petra was very much engaged and enforced this struggle for you. She too will see this change occur in her realities. Now, allow me to tell you of a story of a great and mighty people I refer to as the Tall Ones of the Ages. You saw them move very rapidly and seem almost to be in flight. They were a society of pure love. When they engaged with one another, it was a sincere pact of love and respect. They would stop, look into one another's eyes and feel the exchange of love. Then they would mate to populate the planet. They were not monogamous, as you understand. They were all encouraged to love each other. They all looked similar. When one passed over, another would come in to keep the population consistent. It was a nearly perfect society.
I saw that when I was observing one of my friend's lifetimes. What was the name of that society?
We called it Iarklon. It was more phonetic than your type of style of language. Ancient societies work with tone, not articulation. The sounds are difficult for you to express, but flowed from them very easily.
I remember seeing the big holes in the ground, not a beehive, but hive-like in a way. They moved so quickly that it felt slightly insectoid, almost buzzing about, yet they were humanoid in form. I didn't see any wings. And then when I saw the hive-like formation in the planet, I interpreted that this is their home.
That was merely a place where they burrowed and rested. Most of the time they worked and engaged with one another above ground. If one went to the burrow before the day's end, then they would all know that he or she was ill. They worked so closely as a community that this rarely ever happened. This is how humans were originally meant to be.
Why is it that humans seem to have a disconnect where the males want to live in a very polygamous way and the females insist upon a monogamous relationship? How does it happen that our species are split and at odds with mating? It doesn't make sense. We are all from the same mother and father, yet our desires are separate, as if we were from a completely different or separate strand or race. Men from Mars, women from Venus. I never agreed to that concept. Somewhere there must be a harmony, and is this disharmony linked to the females, Hera, Callisto, and Hecate, and others?
I would say that the different species integrating on the planet created a confusion, in addition to the curses of the women of old. Heartache and discord amongst couples was not the original intention. Clearly, the bitterness and anger of Hera, Callisto, and Hecate was contagious amongst other species, and I will go on to say that they brought their poisonous tincture of revenge to other far regions of the universe upon further scrutiny of their methods. That part should be forever dissolved now. Again, we are looking at the differences of male to female in mating. It is my personal desire to find a happy place of harmony, as you do. We would like to hand the matters of the heart back to you because you have learned so much about it, and after all, that was your original station along with others. A kiss from above to you, delightful one. It has been a long, sorrowful trek, but we are making strides to correct it. Meanwhile, be careful not to walk among the embers of the war between Kraton and Kalib. This will be a trying journey for all of us. Oh, how lovely. All about love.
Yes. It's all about love. And all the things that he learned about love. And he was just coming in, I believe, he didn't mention this, but it was almost like I was also getting this information about how they were in Andromeda. And as you remember, early on in the transmissions, they didn't really have a specific partner. They sort of had a mate, one person that they connected to. But if they ended up going with another, then it wasn't like it wasn't so much of a hardship. It was like, forever Beltane, know?
Yeah.
Forever
Beltane. I love that.
Yeah, it sounds like you fell off the seat.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you that there is something in us that, and we call it jealousy, and there is something where you care about someone and you really don't want to be with anyone else. But that has to be mutual. I see so many people wanting to own the other person. It feels like, you're my soulmate, or you're my twin flame, or you're someone, and the other person has to awaken to that as well in order for it to work. It can't be disconnected. And so, I don't know what the actual answer is. All I know is that both male and female should be on the same page. and somehow have an understanding of this. Not to mention that how it's affected children as a result of it, because people just don't know how to get along, and they don't know how to separate in the right way, where they're working together and trying to figure out what's best for the child. And I know we're getting into this bigger topic, but it's actually all related. And if we can't get along amongst each other in our home life, then how do we expect us to get along in the business world, in
international diplomacy, interplanetary diplomacy?
Right.
You see, this is why one of the reasons that we all get this impetus to heal is because if we were to be walking amongst the stars as we are, we'd be creating a lot more mess for us to clear up later on. We have to learn how to clear up our mess as we go along. And that's when I say mess is karma. Karma is basically the mess that you've made. And Andronicus is, you can see throughout his last 55 transmissions about the consequences of actions and desires and what happens to the karma that comes back to you.
Yeah. We're trying to fit, and it's not just we're accruing karma, but literally it's just causing so much distress to ourselves. I mean, there's a high rate of heart attacks. I mean, what do you think a heart attack is? I know it's stress, but what kind of stress? It's a stress on the heart. The love center is being attacked. There's something there that's not right. And if we are in love and in harmony and in peace in that area, and you don't have to be in this over dramatic relationship for you to experience love. Love is very simple. You could have an animal and feel like a beautiful pet and just have this love feeling. Nieces and nephews and siblings, parents, remembering why we're here. We're not here to be disputing. We're here to find love. This is the seventh ray energy. The Aquarius, if you look at the Aquarians are open and they see everything as a whole. They're in a very unique,
that's right.
They're very unique type of sign.
Yeah.
And my son's an Aquarian, and I love watching the way he sees things.
Mm.
And I remember there was one time when I was teaching my meditation class, and I had probably about 4 or 5 Aquarians in my class. It's like, how did I do this?
Yeah, well, they're the people who are interested in this stuff. The woo-woo people, they're the Aquarians. They
have those moments of brilliance, don't they? They just kind of stop and see something, and you're like, wow, that could have taken me about 12 years to figure it out. You got it in that moment.
Yeah, you can never catch. They're very fast in the mind. But the other thing about relationships, if you've got Venus in Aquarius, that's your libido, or Venus and Moon in Aquarius. It means you'll have lots of relationships, and it'll be either polygamy or serial polygamy, or it's just you're always open to something new. They may be into a bit of leather and rubber, and stuff. Anything. Just whatever it is. If it's sexy, they're into it. But the whole thing about so the difference between 6th ray and 7th ray love is 6th ray is the very sticky kind of cloy, I want you, I'll die if you move an inch, and 7th ray is like, please go away and go and be, so I can be, and then we'll be together, that's, because there's a real strong realization.
It's like spreading your wings.
Yeah.
I'm free in this relationship. I don't feel bound to this relationship. Your energy liberates me. Your energy makes me feel really good that I can just kind of do and be whoever I am, and you are being whoever you are, and we enjoy that, and we support each other in that. And that is the evolved state of a relationship. Mm-hmm. It's accepting each other for who they are rather than trying to transform them into what you think they should be.
Mm-hmm. Because there's no point in giving lip service to free will if you're still controlling. Because other, people who go around spouting, free will this, that's just using that as an excuse to just be belligerent and do what they want to do. but it doesn't. They don't actually support other people having free will. Like, I don't want you to do that around here. Can you do that elsewhere? It's like, I'm using my free will. I'm doing it here. No, go away. You're impinging on mine.
It's courtesy.
So,
it's courtesy. There's no removing that disrespect, removing disillusionment.
So for instance, with a seventh ray personality, Jess, like yourself, you're naturally polite. You're naturally aware of diplomatic type protocols. That's what the seventh ray is all about, order. So all your relationships are all in order. You see? Whereas before it was all, hand over fist and that sounds weird. Anyway, but it's like, you get what you get, and you do the card, you play the cards that you're dealt and all this stuff, you're married into this family, you can't marry that family, all that. That's all sex magic. Now, the thing about the seventh ray, this is what I want to get across, is the other aspect of the seventh ray is the energetic sensuality tantric level of relationship. And that's the really, really juicy bit. And it literally is. It's the juicy stuff. It's the electricity that you get, like with Kundalini and Tantra, that sometimes you don't even need to touch to be making love with someone.
Right.
That's the seventh ray. And it's like everything's telepathic. And you just like, you can feel the energy build up without touching each other. It's fantastic. And then you do it with,
there unless your heart is open.
That's right. It's only through the heart that this thing happens. Yeah. Because, it's a magnetic electric transmission. Your heart, by pumping, creates a magnetic wave, and your heart, because it's full of magnetic fluid, receives magnetic waves. And when you get in tune with someone, that's when telepathy happens. Just demonstrating it earlier on. If you breathe at the same time with someone, you then get in tune with them. That's how it's so simple, to get on the same frequency as someone, to get on the same wavelength, you just breathe the same way. In breath and out breath at the same time, and there your minds are thinking together, and you start doing these things.
And it brings, probably brings us back into a point of harmony, if this is true. What Andronicus told me is that the earliest societies, and this is how they were harmonious, war was not used as a weapon. It was, people did not own each other, so there wasn't a reason to act that way, and the jealousy component seemed to be completely absent.
Yeah.
When I say jealousy, it's not like, of course you can care and love someone, but there is something was much more of a flow. And I think that if people wanted to be with each other now, in that society in particular that he talked about, was clearly not intended to have any type of monogamy. I think then they went on to another phase and experimented with the monogamous experiences. Like the Andromedans were kind of a little bit of both. They were very much kind of open and free-loving. And, people think, well, it's the hippie lifestyle. Not entirely. These were kind of like pods or groups of people that were together, paired together, and they would do missions together. And so, but then there was this whole feeling of, you found someone that, you really connected with, and there was a stronger bond. Now, there's the other belief of this soulmate, or twin flame, where it's really your other half. And, if you are, some people are really looking for that other half. And they want someone to know who they are, who they are, and that person knows who they are, and it kind of goes back and forth, and, I am you, you are me, and we are all together type of thing. And, essentially, it's a reflection of a mirror. And here we are. And a lot of people want that so badly. That, they have websites, they have this and that, and I think it's a divine thing. The divine will open up that someone can come in. But there's also multiple soul connections that you have too.
Exactly, and this is what I've been learning about the whole Lyran thing, is and what I've been using as how can I say this, a railroad, a river back to this whole thing, is that feeling is of missing your twin flame, because I think it's actually not a single thing. It's the feeling of missing all of our brothers and sisters who were killed that day.
Yes.
1 billion years ago. And it's so long ago that we think it's just one person. Or maybe that awareness has been hijacked and said, oh, well, that's the feeling of wanting a twin flame. Or a sense of being incomplete. Now, some people find that, don't they? They find somebody who they're completely happy with, and there's never any strife, and it's great. And I know a couple like that, and they have an enormous age difference. They're 40 years different. He's in his 80s and she's in her 40s, but they're beautiful. They're just a lovely couple. But they're very free. They're free to each travel, but they do travel together sometimes. And it's just it's beautiful, and you can see when they walk together. Yeah, I mean he's in his 80s, and he's a tall Scotsman, and she's a tall South African woman. She's long blonde hair. I mean, what a fantastic couple they made, and you can see that they just beam. They just beam.
And that's what it is. It's really the soul connecting to one another, and like you said, that's very, very interesting. It's because, many people are looking for their twin flame, but is it actually that maybe they're looking for their group? Yeah, and I've got a feeling that that's really what it is. But on the other hand, I have to say that in terms of their rays, now I speak sometimes about the complementarity of certain rays with each other, and I've spoken before that the ray 3 and ray 7 go together. Right? They're the rays of the throat center and of the sacral center, and they're the rays of communication and generation. And as we know, it's really good to have communication before your generation. The other way around is illegal, and cruel, and But so what I'm saying is that they're a complementary couple. They're a 1, 2, 3 and a 1, 2, 7. Yeah. So. And this, if anybody wants to know what it sounds like, a 1, 2, 3 and a 1, 2, 7 conversing, well, just listen to the last 2 years of our shows. Because Jessica has 1, 2, 7 and I have 1, 2, 3. And that's what it sounds like. Yeah. So, there's, the 7th ray is very sensual, but without being, sensual without being, cheap or slutty or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's this warm, rich, chocolate fruitcake kind of richness of sensuality, that is very different from, this sort of, it's not porn, it's the other way around. It's the fun, it's probably the pure sense of sensuality without the corruption of the abusers and the other ones that want people to suffer in any way. Yeah. It's minus the suffering and more of the enhancement of the pleasure center of expression in kind of a natural organic connection to the earth too at the same time. It's just really, really beautiful.
Oh yeah, the 7th ray is all about groundedness. All about the ground and stuff. So fantastic.
Yeah. It's also stellar too, It can be very stellar, especially if you have the starseed connections coming together. And some people say, well, maybe that person isn't your twin flame, but you've met each other in another plane, and you have this starseed connection, and you're both coming from different starseeds, and that can be quite interesting. And that's, it's like merging of the races, it's kind of merging of the species. But it can be quite interesting and enjoyable. But pleasure is not just to get to the point where it's overwhelming, but that's part of our gift of being here. It's not the primary focus for us being here, but if we do not have any happiness or pleasure, people get pleasure from food, they get pleasure from sitting in nature. It's all of these things combined. And being in that moment, in the present moment, and having that moment amongst a group of people or an intimate moment between you and someone else is something that's really wonderful. That's our gift. So maybe we should make love, not war. And I know I'm so, regurgitating a lot of the hippie stuff, but I can't help it. I think a lot of their premises were right.
Yeah, well, you see, the thing is, what people don't realize is people thought like the 60s is something that is kind of over. But really, like I was talking about a bow shock wave last week, just in front of a ship, there are 3 little waves that extend in front of the ship that are traveling faster than the ship, and they're called the shock wave, the bow shock wave. For a very long period, something like an entire, astrological age, for instance, 2,600 years or so, a bow shock is like, it could be like 30 or 40 years in front. And that's what the 60s was a bow shock of what we're about to enter. So you'll find that there's all the people who were incarnated as hippies then. Some of them have died and reincarnated as millennials.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the people that are forming. That's and also these are bringing in with what Dolores Cannon are called the third wave.
Yeah.
So these are the people now who are really going to hold. There's going to be a large number of them. They're going to hold all the humans who need midwifing through this period, and they're going to be holding. They'll be the kids. Yeah, so they're going to be incredibly supportive kids with all these rather sick parents or confused or anything like that. But they'll just hold them through it. Because all the kids, they're all telepathically connected. They just know, Kids don't, you notice like all these kids, hey, how do you know that? I don't know. Just know. That's obvious,
I would say that all of much of what they were teaching and what they believed in at the time was absolutely wonderful. It was blissful, and what corrupted it and created confusion and delusion was the misuse of drugs. Coupled with that didn't make a good combination, and you couple that with any type of society, there's going to be problems because you're not in your authentic self. You're in another reality. And you must, if you are venturing into other realities, do it the meditative way. That is the cleanest and clearest way to open up and work with your inner memory and your soul memory. It will not harm your body. And so I understand that there are people that will disagree with me, and they have the right to do that. But remember, your body is sacred, and you do with it, you're responsible for it. It is your quality of experience here, and you want to maintain it, just like you take care of your home. You're not going to let it go in disrepair. You don't put anything into your brain that is going to affect your brain in a negative way. Your brain is a wonderful, amazing, beautiful gift, and it can continue to open up, and you don't have to, create these explosions or implosions within your brain to, rip out, some of these memories. Let's keep it safe and pure. And you open up your chakras, do meditative chakras. I promise that you will begin to reconnect with who you are and why you're here and all of this other stuff. But, so anyhow, why don't we go on to, we are just about at the top of the hour.
Yeah, should we do Fifth Dimension and the Age of Aquarius?
Yes. Yeah, sounds great.
There we go. Oh yes, lay your hair down if you've got any. You got any left?
Yes.
We're back.
Okay, so we are back now, and thank you for joining us with that revisit to the Age of Aquarius, since we have discovered from my guidance here that we are now in the 7th ray. And so what does that mean for us? And this is probably going to, carry on into transcending what we're going to be experiencing in the future. After my show, I just want to remind people we're having the Interstellar Roundtable with Viking, and Max Steele will be joining us there. But Max Steele will also be joining us at the end of this show because he had a very, very rare encounter with a Bigfoot. And we're hoping that he can share the recording. It actually got on his phone. I have no idea how this happened. None of us could figure it out. But after listening to it, I was able to understand what he was saying. And I'll let you guys just listen to what happened there with Max when he comes in on the second hour, at the end of this hour.
Some classic answers from the universe. Guests with paranormal activities.
Yes. You never know what this is going to go.
Coming full circle. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay, so let's go into Rhodan.
So,
31.
Meanwhile.
It's a lightning bolt.
Yeah, did I have a lightning? No.
Yes.
Yeah, no. Well, see, what I had is, I've had to change, I had a crisis. So I've not got all of them, I haven't got all of them with me. What's this? We have a problem. I'm heavy at heart. My brother Khalib has turned on us and I was required to stand up to him. Now that Jakar has left and Zoroaster has defected and caused much strife, Zamfir, my dearest brother, has moved to another sector. I am here with the Hura Mazda. Even worse, Khalib has entered into the depths to take on Kraton in the foundations. He was angered by the maze being created and many of his followers headed down into the maze and being taken captive by Kraton. Today, your Wednesday, July 27th, 2016, Khalib entered the depths to make war with Kraton. It is devastating. This is what brings on the conflict. It was festering since the strike between Zamfir and Kraton occurred. Despite my father's intervention, we know and are fully aware of what has been going around us. There are too many conflicting factions and we should be connecting as one. I've given true counsel to my brothers. The fact that Khalib was about to turn on me was more than I could imagine. The doors have been left wide open, and I am sorrowful beyond imagination. I only wish that someone would understand my pain. How could we fight against each other? How could a brother raise his hand against a brother? I am beside myself in grief. I wept before my father. Is there not one amongst us who is reasonable at this time? The dike is bursting at the seams and the water is about to break. Kraton is as a rabid dog, foaming at the mouth. He is furious beyond measure regarding the interference of my brothers. I can't blame him, but I cannot sit back and allow him to hurt any of us.
What will you do? And how will it affect us?
It affects you because you've been pulled in. Many of Khalib's followers have been making your life difficult as well as many of your people around you. You didn't have a choice but remove them from your field. I was afraid he would hit you very hard. I know he was furious by what he was being told. When he discovered that you were merely protecting yourself and others, he felt ashamed by what was happening. You are as us. His followers are pure rebels to the kingdoms. They are not aware that by attacking you, they would have to deal with us. He turned on his own followers. Then it went a step further and Kraton got involved and began taking ownership of their souls. The construct has changed. The agreement was that if we did not control the upper realms, then the lower realms would begin to assert themselves on the planet. We are all aware of this, and little by little we could not gain control of the circumstances. The humans, in addition to other species on the upper earth, were in too much rebellion to listen to either of us. It was a particular group of Khalib's people who are not listening and spiraled out of control. Then the spiral went downward. Ancient Persia raised its head and began to collapse into the underworld. They were warned, but we hoped to awaken them ourselves. They used many of their religions or causes to mask the true barrenness of their souls. They saw life as worthless. They fought for anger, not for truth. They raged within their hearts, removing all aspects of love, and then plummeted into the depths like lead boots in the waters. Like oil on the duck's wings, they had become so dense they could no longer sustain themselves above ground. Their souls will first leave, and then their bodies will follow.
What will happen to those souls? Are they no longer a part of our karmic wheel?
This is the first time we have lost souls to the underworld. It's never happened before. These were the blackest of the black holes without remedy. Khalib was convinced he could save them. I'm sure he could have done until they went too close to the fire and were consumed by the fire.
Is there anything we can do? Tell me. Is it my fault?
No, it's not your fault. It was destined to happen one time or another. Unfortunately, they drew you in consciously. They thought they would take you down with them. They knew what their destiny was.
Is this another timeline in ancient Persia, or is it present day?
It is both, and not all of Persia, but those who were granted forgiveness from their rebellion in ancient Persia, and who are now living today, planning and conniving to destroy and make war and create havoc upon the planet. Their souls shall have an end.
What if I stand on the bridge and draw them out? Kraton may allow me to do this.
No, child, you have other work to do. The angels shall stand in the gap for them. You can support them if you choose. I would honor your wishes to do so. Khalid did take great care to not allow any serious harm to come your way. I will see to it that you remain protected as you assist others during this time. Khalid has left his golden chain for you. It is a chain of time. You can find him when you need to speak to him. The battle will go on. Kraton cannot take him down as he did with Zamfir. Zamfir went down willingly to not create a greater problem for the rest of us. He's fine. He'll always be fine, because he is crafty and wise. You, on the other hand, must still be watchful. There are others who are holding a place where Khalib is answered. My heart is so heavy. My people are here to comfort me, but I will not find peace until we have regained our station and ended this war. Where's Andronicus? He's never around when these problems break out. I'm calling Meetis to assist me now. Callisto? What does Callisto have to do with it? Hey, get Andronicus now. I need to see why Callisto was involved in all of this. As Rhodan's voice fades into the background, that's what
it sounded like. He just kind of went, like he started talking to someone else.
He had an ooh shiny moment.
Yeah. Yeah, so shiny.
Wow. Sad. Poor sad Rhodan.
Yeah.
It's really sad. You know, when a god is sad, it's like solar systems get sad. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, now Persia is what we call, Iran.
Yeah, but I think it's talking about the whole cradle of civilization, that whole area there.
Yeah, Mesopotamia, yeah.
I just want to make it very clear. If anyone thinks that this has anything to do with, we're saying that all Persians or people from that part of the world are bad, please get rid of that thought. I have many friends that are Lebanese and Iranian and Iraqian, and I live near a melting pot. I live very close to Harvard, and there's in Cambridge, and there's lots and lots of different types of people that I've been around in my life. There's a big population of Armenian people not far from where I live. So I love the people. They have a very beautiful, rich culture. This is no reflection on them in particular. These are souls. And just to explain what's happening here is there was a certain society that occurred in ancient Persia. Probably the whole Darius, Cyrus, during that time. And those souls have come in as maybe they're still, of Middle Eastern descent, or they could be of any race or color or background. But those souls are doing some things that they should not be doing, and to the point where their consciousness got very, very low. And so they said that those souls have been taken. I didn't know what else to think about it, but I do want that part. There's a few parts to this, but the part that I want to emphasize, just so people have clarity, this is not picking on one particular race as saying they're evil, because clearly you can find good and bad in all groups. So, just to make that clear. Yeah, it was, I think you're seeing, remember I talked about that there were regions that were controlled by the different brothers of Rhodan, or the children of
Sons of Shiva.
Shiva, sorry.
Brain fart, I know. You're all right. Do you want to take a breath?
Yeah. Well, it's very, very emotional.
Yeah.
It's very, very emotional. This is really an upsetting thing that's happened. So there's a war going on that we can't see. Mm-hmm. There's a war over what happens to some of the souls if they get really into a dark space. Remember, what's Kraton do? He's the one that takes in the dark energy. He's the one that prevents everything from turning into black holes. So neither one, Kalib or Kraton, are essentially evil, but they have a role, and they have a station that holds, our universe in place. And, they call it the foundations. They're pulling these different things. So, it's definitely, quite a challenge. But, anyhow, I think that we can go on to, let's keep it going. We'll go on to Borkum, because Borkum then brings in some more information.
And he's a little more entertaining, I hope. Primus! Primus, we need you now! Speak to Ahura Mazda and ask him to intervene between Kraton and Kalib. It is of utmost importance. You see, we're all in dire straits now. Rhodan is at his wit's end. See what this has done to all of us? We're all brothers. Why do they continue to make war when we have so much to live for? We could be celebrating by the suns and the moons. We could be adventuring and traversing the stars. But why be trivial and succumb to territorial balances? I don't see the point. Maybe I'll visit Kraton.
Time lapsed, and Borkum ventures into the depths to observe the war. Then he discovers a group of Calypsi Ray beings standing watch, and a large army of Zeta Reticuli, and the tall whites amongst them, awaiting the outcome. Borkum, why are the Calypsi Ray, Zeta Reticuli, and the tall whites observing outside of the cavern? What are their plans?
The Zetas and Tall Whites are waiting for the outcome to see them both destroyed. They anticipate this battle will leave them both in deep destruction so they can take over the planet.
What about the Calypsi Ray? Why are they there?
Well, they're there to see what happens and are reporting back to the Council of 12 and Council of 5. They're a liaison species, much like yourself. I am concerned for you, Sima. You have been too close to the embers this whole time.
It definitely feels that way. The Calypsi Ray have been helping out some of those around me and who need help. So have the Rhodans.
Oh, it'll be fine. The Zetas will not be happy with this outcome. I already know what happens. Zamfar enters in despite our request not to enter. That action then further involves Rhodan. It's a family affair. Kraton holds his own power, but is resolved and there are agreements made. I can't say any more.
What can we do to stop this activity?
Continue to speak to them. They hear you. Help them reason through this. The souls involved were guilty and should be held accountable as always. Tell people on the planet to be in prayer, to hold themselves in the light. Much is about to happen. but there is benevolence on their side. The mass intrusions of other species, such as the Zetas, have no control over humanity, and humanity is not responsible for their actions. They will be judged separately. All will make their own decision and have a choice. Please, be at peace.
What about the Vinkala, or the reptilians? Will they be involved?
Ah, they already are. But I've been dealing with them. They are like my wolf pack, and they will obey me. Go now. Attend to your messages of love, Suma. Primace, keep the airways clear of deception, and I will gather in the Vinkala. So it's like, who have I got to go and talk to now?
You have to go talk to Ahura Mazda.
Ahura Mazda, all right, okay.
Yes, kind of get him involved to try to come to a peaceful agreement.
Well, okay, I suppose everybody's in trouble up there. You know what? I still can't get over that. The most beautiful moment was in the Andronicus thing, when he says, "A kiss from above, my delightful one."
Mm.
Oh, that just gets me every time. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh,
it is. Yeah. Well, we started off with love, and we have a conflict, and but that's part of what creates this big shift, because the old systems are breaking down, and we're seeing that it is potentially moving into a new paradigm, but we don't really know how it's going to end up, and Borkum kind of leaks some of the information to us.
A few spoilers, which is good.
Borkum's a spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
Couldn't hold a secret if he paid him.
Hold anything in. No, but this is just really brilliant. What was this thing? Zetas will not be happy.
Remember, I saw the Zetas walking with Augusta.
Yeah.
So maybe they're the neo or the new Nazi.
Yeah.
Regime, or the alternate Nazi regime. Maybe they're behind that, because that is the other timeline that the ACIO said that was crossing through our realities. And I kept on seeing Zetas, and I felt like Zetas have been around quite a bit for some reason lately.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's
so. This is interesting, right there. It says, "Primus, keep the airways clear of deception, and I will gather in the Vinkala." Mm-hmm. What does he mean by that?
It means he's pulling them out of our reality.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
I was wondering, because I'd see them getting pulled out, and I was like, I don't know, I'd see one, and then all of a sudden, I'd see them getting pulled out. And so maybe he's been collecting them.
Yeah. Well, this is what we've been waiting for. Remember a long time ago, we were talking about, tagging these beings? All these beings throughout our time, whenever they've kind of eaten us, or well, usually eaten us, or battled with us, or stuff, that they get tagged with our DNA. If they eat us, we go into them, and they get tagged in the same way, and so that makes it easy for Borkum and other beings to they just look for the tag, and they gather them up. It's a bit like in the fairground, you got the little rubber ducks that have got a hook on them. It's just by eating us, a little hook sticks out.
Yeah. So well.
Yeah. So now we can have a nicer life without being eaten.
Well, it's not only that, but the what they call the Vinkalas, the reptilians. And the reptilians, it looks like they just, every time they went into a civilization, they just started destroying stuff. Destroying whoever was existing there, and then also destroying the environment. Take a look at our planet right now. Maybe we could say that they've had their time here messing around our planet, because it doesn't even seem normal that humans would do this, destroy our own planet. There has to be some other influence, and I'm not trying to give the human race a pass, but it just doesn't seem to be in our nature. I mean, you talk to 99% of the people that you interact with, and they will all say it's really horrible that the water is getting polluted, and so you step back and say, well, who's actually doing this then? Since no one really likes this whole idea, and it's a smaller percentage, and this smaller percentage is very likely influenced by these reptilian beings who are destroyers. That's just, what they are. Some people, like to tear things down. Some people are the demolition people. And essentially that's what they are.
And like the fire ants at the wedding, the soldier ants at the wedding, it depends what the timing is, whether they're appropriate or not. They're not good at the beginning, they're not good at the middle, but after everybody's gone, right at the end, then you can let the soldier ants go through and they'll clean everything up. Mm-hmm. So it's all about getting everything in the right order. So if there's a demolition crew, well, you have to wait till everything's finished, and then they'll be great. Go, just strike that, please. Yeah, fine, thank you. We'll do that with pleasure. And it's finding a place for everybody. So, unlike the old, okay, so here's again, what's the difference between the 6th ray and the 7th ray in terms of conflict? The 6th ray doesn't, the 6th ray is not about, finding the best solution. The 6th ray is about winning, or beating, or being the best, or being next to the best, or, and so war is the ultimate result of the 6th ray. Mm-hmm. But we don't do war in the 7th ray. In the 7th ray, you integrate. It's all about integrating. And so when you have an integrated society, everybody's in the right place doing what they like doing. And the thing that they like doing is at the right appropriate moment. So yes, you can have your bikers and you can send them around. You can give them parcels and say, here, go and take this one over there. Oh, go and look, I've got an opportunity. Ride your bike and I'll pay you the petrol from here to there. Hey, I'll do that. Oh, and by the way, stick this parcel in your pannier, will you? Okay, fine, no problem. And then everybody gets what they love to do, and then everybody's got a place and they're happy, and so there's no conflict. Because if everybody's happy, how can there be conflict?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So the only problem with this happiness is the Hera. How do we get the Hera kind of being to be to accept happiness and to allow it in their heart? Because they're the hardest ones.
They are, because they're the ones that introduce the very strong jealousy and hatred and spitefulness and nasty competitive ways. And so they're working on it. It seems like there's some kind of purging and cleansing of that, and this whole Callisto-Hera combination was a bad one. And I could trace it all the way back, and they said it was 2,000 years. I was shocked. So 2,000 years, that's an awful long time.
That's a long time to have a grudge.
It sure is.
That's just too long to have a grudge. But
especially whereas they should have been, after each other. And, they joined forces to come after me, which it didn't even make sense. But easy target or whatever. But
thing is that in joining forces, they've learned to cooperate in some bizarre way. So in a way that they're learning very slowly through their own spite, they're even teaching themselves how to cooperate. Mm. So I know, obviously them teaming up to pick you is not the best thing. But in terms of their evolution, that is actually a step forward in evolution rather than being alone,
Right. Right.
So.
Anyhow, we're moving along in time, and this show has gone by so fast because of the topics that we've covered and a lot of depth. But we still have Meetis, and Meetis brings in an interesting energy of the dragon. Yes.
So we have a new actress. Let's see if we can bring her into the call. And she's going to read cold like we all do.
Yeah. And her name?
Her name? Let's see. Her name is Julie from Jules. She's Jules from the chat room. Hello, Jules. How are you? Are you there? We can't hear you. Are you muted? We'll be with her in a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm looking for the 4 now. The transmission. Actually, Jessica, could you drop Meetis' transmission in for Julie there? And she'll bring us back in. Yeah. So, we'll wait for everybody to come back, and we'll bring up Meetis, which is, actually I think Skype has just ground to a halt on my computer. That's great. It might be back. So, I'm just going to maybe play a little bit of music until we get something like that. Moonlight. Okay, well, welcome back. Jessica, can you just give me a count to 3? I'm in another room. Oh, really? That's... Yeah, my Skype has crashed in the other computer. I just need to adjust the parameters on this thing. Oh, God. And also, I don't think they can hear you on this for some reason either. Yeah, okay. Right, let's Skype output there, jack sync, right, output devices, jack sync, pulse audio there, input devices, pulse audio there. That's very strange, okay. Right, okay, well, I'll, this is not good. Can you, right, Jessica, okay, now if you speak, can you speak?
I can speak.
Okay, alright, so, people can hear you on the stream now.
Okay.
Now you can hear me faintly, is that correct?
It's getting a little stronger as you're speaking.
Okay, alright. Yeah. Okay, so that was a bit strange. So let's see if we can bring in our...
So would you like to reset the call again?
Right, really I need to reboot this computer and restart Skype, because Skype has crashed. That's really basically what's happened. So,
people will just have to wait. Yeah. Why don't we just do that so we can get the proper connection?
Yeah, because actually that computer's got my my Word connection on it. But anyway, let's see if we can bring Julie for. Well, let's do some more discussion on what's been going on the. Within the sort of the greater context of these 3 so far that we've been reading out, because there's so much going on that is connected in with our lives as well, and with the greater world. For instance, the whole thing about Kraton and the war between Kraton and who?
The war between Kraton and Khalib, and Khalib is over the area of the Middle East. And remember, we earlier talked about how it was separated. There was a section where Mazda was over Turkey. I saw him there, and there was a gap in Palestine, and Rhodan was over Israel, and then there was Khalib was over like the Arab groups. And so it just seemed to, and then probably maybe extending out to Egypt and that area as well. And maybe possibly even throughout Africa. I'm not sure. We had never had that discussion. And then of course Jakar was over Asia, but I saw him in Thailand. And, Zamfir was kind of in the earth and above the earth, but never really wanted a specific location, but was free to come and go as he pleased. And then at some point Jakar went into the earth, and then he left. And then of course there was a conflict between Zamfir and Kraton, and now there is there's clearly been things going on in the Middle East, and so that's Khalib's area, and then it resulted in this because, as you know, all the different activity that's going on throughout the world.
It's all in the Middle East.
It's a specific group. It's not everyone, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's all centered. Everything, all the conflict in the world centers on the Middle East. And that's this area where the planetary guardian, so to speak, Khalib, is not there.
He's left, so there's a gap. There's an absent space, and not only that, well, what usually happens when there's an absence and there's a void? Something comes to fill it, and unfortunately, what's coming to fill it is not the voice of logic and reason. It's the Zeta Reticuli, which is the small grays, and I'm sure everyone will be in agreement that should not be running the show. And so I saw them. The Solipsi Ray, of course, are there to kind of monitor what's going on. They're not trying to control anything. I couldn't see the Emerthers anywhere, but the Rhodan are there also to kind of protect their people and those that are connected to them. And of course, the Council of 12 was probably gathering their people. So there's this void. I don't know. I'm assuming that Rhodan's kind of holding the gap where everything else is missing, and I have a feeling, of course, Zamfir is very, very quiet and could potentially be filling that gap, but I don't have any confirmation on that, but I'm sure he's up to something, and if I know him, he's definitely there to protect his brothers, as they would be to protect him. And what happened between him and Kraton, I think, was his bowing out. I don't think he was permanently injured. So, and I just don't think that they really fully get injured, to be honest with you. I think that there's an etheric aspect about them that is quite powerful.
Well, yeah, because they manifest here on in our plane, but it's not. They are definitely focused in a different dimension, and they manifest here.
Yeah,
in the way that we're focused here in that third.
Bilocating, multi-locating in various locations, different time space, having different types of realities, overseeing different things. So they can be in multiple places at once. Their consciousness is probably the most expanded of all. And people say, well, it doesn't sound like they're in a higher consciousness. But people don't understand is there's a construct that was established, very, very long time ago, and then we were invited to be a part of it as the human race and brought in. There were other societies that preceded us, and so the construct was established regarding the foundations and the way that things are run. And now there's a disruption in that, which is very, very unique. But because there was a breakdown in the system, and Khalib was not, he was somewhat turning the other way and sort of ignoring, but he has a very lofty way about him, and he kind of allows people to experience things, but was trying to bring in a sense of spirituality in helping his people to expand and grow, but not as effective as some of the other regions. And so, of course, there was the ancient Persian society, which actually brought in some energies that just were not conducive for ascension. And so it was limiting. And so what's happened is these same souls kept coming back and doing the same thing, but it's not allowable anymore. And so something, I think Kraton said, all right, I've had enough of this. And he, through the assistance of others, created this labyrinth that would usher the souls down. And it was necessary. But typically, he would bring them down because they wouldn't have to actually bring them down, but their vibration was so low that they would literally just kind of go down. And so
their density would cause them to sink into the lower depths.
Yeah, and of course that's free will. I mean, you have a choice to do that, but of course, like anything, there are repercussions to it. Every choice that you make, there's a repercussion. There's a positive and a negative, or It's a perception and a decision. What one person might be a really bad experience, another person might be a great experience, and it's perspective. So some of these people just feel most comfortable in these lower density areas, but then, of course, it brings them to another place. Just like those that are reaching for ascension will bring them to another place. It's what you're looking for, what you're open to, and how you want to expand. But of course, it's all based on free will. That part of the construct has not been disrupted. Free will is still highly connected to what's going on right now. So,
as my computer has free will,
with the connection.
Well, my thank you very much. My computer's just about at the point of being rebooted. I've got the Word document up. It's just Skype takes about. I'm not kidding. Skype takes about 15 minutes to load on my computer. And I think it's probably because I've got lots of hard drives in my computer. It's got lots of files. And so it has to phone home and give Microsoft Limited or Microsoft Incorporated a whole list of all of my files, which takes 15 minutes or so. It's always good to know that I've got a backup of what files.
So we'll be impatient. I think I'm going to put it out there to Max that we'll probably bring in his information on the second show once we get.
In the next hour,
looks like we're probably going to be running too late. It's already, we have about 15 minutes left, and I would like to conclude with Meetis' transmission.
Right. So I'm just going to call up Julie, and then I'm going to bring you into the call on the other computer.
Okay.
But that's what crashed the thing last time, so we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Right. So let's just see if, right. Julie, are you there?
Hi, Julie.
Hello there. Good. Right. So, now I'm going to, bring Jessica. Jessica, if you wouldn't mind just dropping the call right now.
Okay.
And then, Jessica will then come in the other side. Uh-huh. There we are. Welcome back. Right. Now I need to, get this thing not happening there. Okay. Right. All right. Good. Right. Jessica and Julie on the same call. Finally. Right. Now.
Hello, Julie. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Jessica.
So I'm excited. We have this beautiful story that's going to come up, and it's about a dragoness. And it's a literal dragon. And I will be playing the role of Artemis. Mm-hmm. And so, do you have the information in front of you?
No.
It's in this call. I've just dropped it in. I'll just drop it into your inbox here, and you'll see this Word document. Where is it? Where is it? Meetis 29. Oh God, I've lost it again.
I put it in there, but you want to put it in again, or?
It's okay. I can get it. It's in my documents.
I have it. So Julie, tell us about yourself. Tell me how you are.
Well, oh goodness, I don't know where to begin.
Where are you?
Where am I? I'm in Houston, Texas. That's a great point. Let's get grounded, open my eyes. Okay, I am in Houston, Texas, and I'm 31. I'm an artist. I do a lot of different creative works, mainly with, right now, mosaics. So it's mostly like glass, and it's what I really enjoy doing. I haven't really been able to make a living off of that yet. So it's all in the mix, and things are coming together. And
so
journey in some way, yeah. Hi.
It's all right. Okay, we got to fix now. So I've sent the document through. So have a look in your Skype on your laptop.
Okay.
And you'll see it there, and then you just click on it, and it should open up on your screen. And it starts with "Hello, my love."
Yeah, it says Meetis. And so JP will begin, and you will come in and speak where it says the dragon part. Okay? Get moving.
Let's hit the Meetis button.
Meetis button.
Hello, my love. We're at the edge of a new age, and I know you're feeling uneasy about it. Why blame others, they say. Why point fingers and stir up the ills of the soul, I say. This is how we all heal. Allow me to tell you a story. There was once a dragon buried deep in the hub of the earth. An explosion occurred from volcanic activity and alarmed the dragon. The dragon drew back and launched a mighty fire upon the source of the heat of the volcano, imagining it to be an attack. The volcano rumbled once again and let forth lava and heat. Overwhelmed by the heat and the flames, the dragon recoiled and set back to observe the mighty power of the volcano, and then looked up to the stars.
You had awakened me to my own folly. I launched fire upon the natural occurring volcano, imagining it to be an attack. Then the magnitude of the fire startled me, and I finally realized it was the volcano. I stepped grandeur. Within the flames, I found you, my friend, Artemis. What would you have me to do, dear Artemis? Have you stirred me to my core and inspired me to see the fire above all other fires?
Come now, lift your swords and come and battle with me until the ends of time as we know it.
What honor can I pay you for considering such a gift battle beside the mighty Artemis, the sister of Apollo?
You are the dragoness above dragons. You eclipse the sun with beauty when you are in flight. You soar like an eagle upon its prey and light the chalice of angels upon the new day.
How can I appease your mighty steed of winged creatures who stand beside you already? The Pegasus and Valkyrie rising lift me to breathtaking array of soft floating creatures that light upon the air, lifting ever so softly as I crush the clouds with an aggressive flow in my comparison. My tail is as a whip, my eyes are as fire, and I partake of the wind as if it is my servant. We are separate, unlike one another. Will I not bear a strength unbecoming of your steed, my grace?
Never. You have been hidden and failed to show your glory amongst the stars, not seeing the breathtaking reflection of your golden scales against the sun. I see the rainbows of color and am beside myself with a breathtaking sigh. Come now, my love, come and return once again to your glory and rise again to the sun, and hide no more. Let us join again and again. You shall never be alone forevermore.
I have peace like a mighty rushing wind that abruptly falls quiet. You are the mirror of glass upon the still waters, and my devotion to you is a pure honor. I shall lift myself to your glory once again and join your steed of mighty creatures forevermore.
And so, with kind words, Artemis convinced the dragon, Swilu, to join her, and she prepared to depart from the planet. Of course, it was required that she would have to leave her station under the great and mighty mountains of Aramis, or what we refer to as Arafat.
Swilu, do not tarry. The new moon has brought great change to the earth, and you will need to be away from the mighty mountains of transformations. Lift now, Swilu, lift now and join us to a dance upon the constellations of Cassiopeia.
Can I rest my weary body a bit longer? Earth's pains and sufferings have kept me awake for ages. I am like a boat tossed to and fro by the emotions of the planet. It has taken all my strength to uphold the forces of darkness below and above. For ages, I've held the candles for Gaia and held back the mighty winds of destruction amongst the humans. The starseeds who knew me and sought me out for their troubles, and the intruders they thought they could pull me from my station like a leaf upheld by a mighty breeze. To their surprise, I pulled them into my shadows and consumed them and their works of evil. The mighty trident of Poseidon did support me as I held him in charge of my watery region, that converged upon the storm of Enki that no other dared to cross. It was only me and the mighty beast of the water depths who turned fast upon the powerful edge of storming depths within the ocean. We were trusted. We will always be trusted. It was my honor to serve amongst the brave and gallant Poseidon as we traversed the ship beneath the water's horizon. It is my honor to visit the catacombs and depths of earth, to visit Anu and his powerful army of light. It was my honor to feel loved by my beloved Queen Gaia. Venus beheld me with a loving gaze, and I surrendered to her. And I surrendered to her wholeheartedly. She uplifted me when I was injured and held me as peace raw child leaps. I beheld Zeus's mighty thunder and flew proudly, like with the golden Apollo, into the soul gate of immortality. Now I have found my true journey end, which is closer to my journey beginning. I am a warrior without a name, but regarded by few.
You have the names, how did you say it,
I call it Swilu.
Swilu.
And that's somebody came to me last week. Sorry, I just want to bump in there. Somebody came to me and had someone called Swilu. I'm not kidding. So anyway.
So yeah, we'll talk about that afterwards. Yeah. You have a name, Swilu, and your name is known through the ages of time. You are loved and are needed for the missions ahead. And a new change is coming to the earth, and it is time for you to expand beyond the stars. There is so much more to do as the humans rise. There will be civilizations elsewhere in time. We must be ready for it.
When the moon rises again to its fullness, I shall be fully awakened and alive. I will be ready to join you and fully sustained within myself as I had slept 1,000 years. Then I will pull myself up by the backflow of wind coming from your mighty steed. Let us prepare the separation from my current throne to embark upon my new station guarding the sun.
So be it. I will draw my arrow upon the peak of the moon and awaken the sun, and you shall see the flare of light coming upon your vista. Another nudge of golden light shall drip upon your nose and rejuvenate you as a brilliant youthful dragon, renewed and restored. You shall yawn a mighty flame of flickering sunlight upon the planet, and with a mighty wind I shall lift you up to hover above the earth. You will spin, expand, and then ride upon the sun-gilded bridge to guide your way to me. It shall be so.
I await your call and the serving of the arrow between the sun and the moon. I am ready and filled with joyous bliss of our new adventure. Farewell for now, my mighty queen, until the daylight breaks. Farewell.
What a lovely story, isn't it? My heart did skip a beat or two. No one fully understands the grace by which we live and reign by. It is not all by force or power or domination. Clearly we all reign by our own rights. We respect one another. I want you all to learn this from us. If there is anything I would like you to learn, it is to love one another and respect each other's gifts and talents. As great and wonderful Artemis is, she still needs the Pegasus and Dragoness to help her do her work. We are all dependent upon one another, and that means you also. Ah, we have a song. All right, okay.
You did a beautiful job. Thank you, Jules.
So much.
That was a beautiful job that you did there, and a very nice depiction of the Dragoness and her loveliness and kindness, and I wish that we had a clearer channel throughout the whole part, and hopefully people get the essence of what it meant.
And maybe one day we'll record the whole thing again with proper microphones and proper parts. So thank you so much.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much for asking me. That was fun. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah.
And
it was a tricky read, so it was very tricky.
Yeah, it was.
A lot of different words in there that we wouldn't typically speak that way, but that was the channel, and that's how it came out, and that was actually the words of the Dragoness, the true Dragoness. So you were honored to be selected to read that part.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Julie. So,
you guys are...
we'll drop this call because we try and reduce the noise as much as possible. But it's lovely to have you back. So, we'll speak to you soon.
All right. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming
Thank
in.
you.
So, now we started late, so, let's just, what have I done? I can't hear anything.
You're going to do the song, the Meetis song for the
do
day.
The Meetis song. We do the Meetis song.
From the Meetis collection and album of Meetis Sings Live on Andronicus.
No, I won't do it to the tune of Puff the Magic Dragon. Actually, it might actually fit. Let's see. The mighty winds did blow, and a dragoness did flow, all gilded bright with gold, and brilliant head to toe. She held the earth to peace, the fire she did release, and she kept the peace below. To Gaia she would go. Arouse now to the sun, your work is now done, and a pleasant arrow soars from Artemis's arrow restores, and a golden drop of dew from the golden sunshine she knew. Beyond the stars is where she will go. Beyond the stars. I tried to not sing Puff the Magic Dragon. Tried to just not sing it, but it kind of...
She is totally not Puff the Magic Dragon. We all know what that song's about, but that's besides the point.
Or one Puff the Magic Dragon, yeah. Anyway, so...
yeah.
So, where's the chat room gone?
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone, stay tuned because we are going into the second half. We are going into the Interstellar Roundtable with Viking, and we will finally get Max Steele to join us.
Yeah,
so wonderful.
We've had some real weird communications. Anyway, let's pull this one to a close. Thank you very much, Jessica. Great show.
Thank you.
We came from the future.